Hi innovators, I'm Dave Casey, founder of the Innovation Leaders Club. In this video, we'll look at explaining the difference between a technology development process and a product development process. We'll also look at when to use a technology development process, but also how to link it with a product development process. First, let's start by defining what is a technology development process and also when to use this innovation management approach. Let's watch it.
This video from the Innovation Leaders Club will explain how to distinguish the technology development from the product development process. Distinguishing the technology development from the product development will provide time for a given technology to mature enough before being implemented in an innovation. Therefore, you'll need a different process with different specifics. More precisely, the video will explain how a technology development process is needed so you can take a different path for technology to nurture it until it is ready to be integrated into an innovation development project. As well as how developing proactively a technology is good, but tying the technology development to a product development is better. Like the typical development process, the TDP has clear deliverables at each stage, and clear decisions must be taken at gates. Then it will integrate to the usual PDP so that an innovation can be developed and launched. The Academy works to freely share meeting content discussed during Innovation Leaders Club gatherings. Through online bundles available for a fee, the Academy ultimately provides real and practical methodologies, visuals, and tools that can be edited or customized for your organization, training videos, and much more based on the Innovation Leaders Club members' shared best practices and the collective proficiency of all the members' knowledge. The Technology Development Process, or TDP, is a relatively structured process set up to rigorously manage a new technology development project, whether scientifically or financially. Mastering the technology in its development and adoption phase takes time, and the results can be unpredictable. The two levels of performance measurement include the TDP and the PDP. First, the TDP, or Technology Development Process, aims to reduce the technological uncertainties. It does not deliver a result that can be launched to the market. It provides the confidence to implement the technology. It is then followed by the PDP, or the Product Development Process, which implements the technology through product or innovation development. The output of a PDP can be measured on the market. Technology development is more difficult to measure because it isn't tangible, so it's often hard to promote this within the organization. This is why the question, why a technology development process, is an important one to answer. As shown, there's an inverse relationship between uncertainty and investment. Simply put, as the uncertainty level decreases, the investment increases. Moving forward in the TDP, there is a low level of information. Because of this, there is also low predicted investment or profit. This goes under the premise that having imperfect or limited knowledge results in the potential rise or decline in the unpredictability of profit in the future. Product development risks include market risk, product risk, organizational risk, and other unforeseeable risks. As the PDP is reached, there is more information gathered, and this increases the predicted success. The product development process is a key tool that enables organizations to be in competition with the competitors' products or offerings. It also allows them to keep up with the changes and trends in the market. Aside from that, it can also help the organization to diversify the target customer range or even expand into new market segments. The technological development process, more commonly called TDP, focuses on the technological aspects of a project while keeping a long-term vision on strategic objectives of the company, action plans of the company, and the needs of the company. Hence, the TDP allows innovators to separately manage technology development efforts as compared to product development. Technological development is performed upstream of the product development. The desired scenario is to integrate a validated technology in product development. That being said, Integrating technology that hasn't had time to mature or sufficiently develop is a common mistake. A team needs time to debug the technology while also adequately developing the product. If the product hasn't been given this much needed time, it can lead to additional delays or a premature launch, causing customer dissatisfaction.
Next, we will look at a real case example coming from one of our club members. What is interesting in this example is they were not only trying to contain the risk coming from technological uncertainties, but they were also trying to contain unknowns coming from intellectual property, competition, operational feasibilities, and others. So see you after this example.
We have developed a 60-page visual guidebook on how to develop an innovation strategy. It is a fully illustrated step-by-step guide to building the foundation of an innovation system. Click the link in the description below to download it for free. A good technology development process is performed upstream of the product development process, thus during the front end of innovation. The technology development process is initiated the same way as a product development process. The project is selected in a project or new product portfolio. Note that everyone participating at the portfolio is aware that new technology is required in the selected project. It might not be clear yet that such technology will require the use of the technology development process. Once the project is selected, the mandate is defined and then goes through a mandate approbation checkpoint. Again, it might not be clear yet that a TDP will be required. Then the project is planned and preliminary feasibility is performed. Here, the team might realize that developing the technology will take more time than initially expected. The technology development is then separated from the project development to ease the management. Once this is completed, the project plan is submitted for approval. The technology development is then initiated in the detailed feasibility phase 1. Once the deliverables are completed, the team will present them in Gate T1. The letter T stands for the technology development process. Some organizations also call it Gate -2. Detailed feasibility is refined in Phase 2. Again, once the deliverables are completed, they will be presented. Note that the number of phases in the technology development process will vary depending on the technology needs and complexity. Once the technology is developed, it can either be integrated into a product development, which is what would happen with a standard PDP, or it can be deployed if it's a standalone technology by using a classical project management process. This is the case when a new technology is integrated into an operational process to improve efficiency and reduce cost. As an example, here are the details of each phase of the technology development process. This process should be tailored to each project's specific need. When it comes to planning and preliminary feasibility, the first step is to make a preliminary analysis, which usually requires an overview of the literature, mainly by reading the abstracts and selecting relevant articles, an overview of existing technologies and a summary of the relevant ones, an overview of potential suppliers and their credentials, an overview of the intellectual property and the identification of those that are relevant, an evaluation of the resources and materials needs, an overview of the competitive landscape and an understanding of its offerings, the identification of the knowledge gap analysis, and a preliminary assessment of the financial potential. The second step is to perform preliminary tests and experiments, which involves a first trial of the technology in order to test your riskiest assumptions. This test will guide you to design your experiment plan for the detailed feasibility phase. The third step is planning the detailed feasibility phase. This is an important step because its purpose is to deepen the preliminary analysis and evaluate when each activity will be executed. As a summary of the planning and preliminary feasibility phase, the deliverables include a preliminary assessment of the technical and financial potential success, the plan for the detailed feasibility phases, and the various deliverables and activities. Next is the detailed feasibility phase. The first step here is the detailed analysis, which consists of reading the articles that were retained in the literature review of the preliminary analysis, deepening the research of existing technologies, evaluating the constraints set by the existing intellectual property and defining the intellectual protection strategy, analysis of the competition's technology and understanding of their positioning, determining your positioning, initiating the contact with potential suppliers and requesting a quotation, evaluating the cost of your technology, performing an operational feasibility assessment, and finally, performing a financial assessment to evaluate the viability of a technology. The second step is to conduct several tests and experiments, including the acquisition of equipment and materials to perform the test, executing the experiment plan. The third step is to adjust the project plan. The fourth step is to plan the next phase, which is the detailed feasibility phase, T2. As a summary, the deliverables for the detailed feasibility phase T1 include the technological feasibility, the commercial and operational feasibility, an adjusted project plan, and the plan for the next phase. For each subsequent phase, until the technology is included in a project, the steps revolve around conducting your experiment plan. An organization can decide to segment the technology development in several phases to control spending and stay aware of the development progress. The deliverables of the detailed feasibility phase T2 and further thus remain to demonstrate the technological feasibility. A good TDP should promote a fast approach that is contrary to the instinct of starting with the easiest part first. In an efficient TDP, you should start with the toughest and most uncertain aspect of the project.
In this final section, it is interesting to know, depending on the final output of a technology development process, a project might enter the product development process at different stages. For instance, if the final input was like a detailed concept, for instance, then we're probably going to enter in phase number 2 of our product development process, not at stage number 1. Let's have a look.
Robert G. Cooper has presented a process linking technology development and the product development process. According to him, once the technology is developed, it will generally enter the PDP in Gate 2 or the portfolio review. It is also possible to see technologies entering the PDP in Gates 1 and 3. This depends on the project's development stage and complexity. If the project is very complex and the technology can be integrated into various concepts, technology can be integrated as soon as Gate 1. If the project has already been selected and the technology development is at bottleneck, the team might choose to initiate the business case while waiting for the technology to mature. If this happens, the situation needs to be carefully monitored.
I hope this video pleases you. Having implemented a technology development process is fundamental if your organization wants to increase its innovation level. The main reason is it promotes failing fast, failing cheap.
If you haven't already done so, you can get your hands on our popular 60-page visual guidebook for free. Click the link in the description below. Don't hesitate to watch the next video to learn even more about innovation management practices.